Firstly, I have a question for you all. How many people here would do their job for free if they weren't being paid? Anybody? 2 out of about 30 or 40. Oh, maybe 3 at the back there as well. It's amazing. Most people's morning routine when they wake up in the morning is to get out of bed as it goes deed, 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 smack, deed, 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 smack. And eventually they drag themselves out of bed, drag themselves into the office, and stare at the screen going, what the bleep am I doing here? Anybody have that in the past? No? You're probably lying. Yeah, there we go. 2 guys who probably even weren't working yet. So what happens is the same person, it's amazing, the same person who might have to drag themselves out of bed when they're going to work, when it's holiday time, and maybe they're packing till 3 a.m. in the morning, they tend to spring out of bed, spring into a taxi, spring into the airplane, spring into the swimming pool with loads of energy. Why is that? Because they're aligned to something they love doing. And as a leader in business, if we can help our business people and our own selves to find what we really enjoy doing, what we love doing, or create love in what we're doing, then we can spring out of bed with a lot more energy. The question is, how do we do that? Well, some of you are on business and you can't actually change your business because you're doing what you do. But what you can do is you can have a look at the energetics of what you do and how it adds value to someone in some way or form. So, for example, I used to be in the investment world. I worked my way up from customer services to board director and head of sales and marketing of 2 of the biggest fund managers in the world. And, when I was working in that world, at the time, I thought it was transactional. I thought it was boring. All I was doing was moving money from one bank to another bank, and there was no real meaning in it. But if I change that and have a look at actually what I was helping that granny or grandpa retire younger, give more to their children, their grandchildren, buy a better retirement home, or even stock up on Viagra if the granny's into that, then actually I realized that everything I do actually adds value to that granny or grandpa and betters someone's life in some way or form. And if you can interlink what you do energetically to bettering somebody's life, you might just spring out of bed in some way or form. So, if you can, really try and create that sense of purpose through there. The other thing to do in terms of purpose, if you're these youngsters here who look like they're either in university or about to come out of university, am I right? No, you're actually working, are you? You look very young, blimey. I must try and get the same cream that you have. Anyway, if you are a youngster or you are looking to change your job in any way and you don't know what channel to go in, you don't feel you're aligned to what you're doing and you're struggling to get out of bed every day, why not write down 5 things you love doing, 5 things you're good at doing, and 5 things you can add value to people in some way or form. Find a match and you might end up doing something you probably would do for free anyway. The final way to find purpose in your life is, how many people here have gone through some crap? How many people here have been through like a relationship breakdown? Me. Marriage breakdown? Me. Job loss? Me. Near-death experience? Me. 3 years of chronic pain, waking up 10 times in the night after 2 operations that went wrong? Me. Anybody else? We've all had crap in our life. And I truly believe what you can do is you can turn your mess into a message and give it meaning and maybe help some people along the way in some way or form. So have a look at the tests that you've been to and turn them into messages in some way or form. So, before I go into the main part of the presentation, is it okay if I tell you a little bit about myself? Is that okay? Thank you. So, a bit about myself. So, I was in the independent when I came over here. I used to work in the investment world. I actually grew an asset management business in England from 50 million per annum sales to 1.75 billion. It was advertised in the papers over there, and as you can see, when I came over here, it was well known as well. So I worked for Davy, I worked for Columbia Threadneedle, you can't see because my shadow's in the way. I worked for Aviva, HSBC, Lazard, and Fidelity. I worked my way up from customer services to board director, as I said, of one of the particular firms. And during that time, as I said, even in the bad times, I managed to perform very well. And I think really it comes down to a state of enthusiasm, but also communication skills. Because as you probably know, the people who can communicate the best, they can communicate with the people they work with, they can communicate with their clients, and they can actually communicate with their own selves in a positive way to create positivity and create positive things in their life as well. So in terms of that, I was pretty successful there, thankfully. And in terms of where I am now, if this works, so as you can see, I do a bit of speaking, and I speak professionally all over the world. I actually know Kevin Brannigan, who owns this today. That's why I'm kind of here, to try and help the Biz Expo. And I have been very honored to have a book coming out called Success Without Stress. And the book has testimonies from 3 New York Times bestsellers. Anyone seen The Secret film? Anyone seen The Secret film? No? No, so The Secret Film is written by Rhonda Byrne. It's also on Netflix as well. There's people like John DeMartini, Lisa Nichols. They're all New York Times bestsellers. Their testimonies in my book, as well as Stephen Covey, as in Stephen Covey Jr., who is the CEO of Franklin Covey, which is the biggest coaching firm in the world as well. And for closer to home, I'm sure you all know Eamon Quinn from Super Quinn. And you might know Pat Falvey, the adventurer who did the South Pole, the North Pole, and Everest twice. So he's another testimony in the book. And also Keith Barry, the magician, who I'm sure you all know, and Eamon Quinn as well. Sorry, some super good. So I've got some good testimonies. The reason why they're testimony in my book, because they've seen me work, they've worked with me, I've been on stage with them, everything like that. So the book's coming out very soon. I've got a new book with the top US publisher coming out as well. And it's going to be in every single Barnes & Noble over in the US. It's going to be over here in Easton's, and it's going to be in Waterstones over in London, and then over in Asia as well. So that's coming out very soon. So I'd be very delighted if you bought it. And as you can see, I won a few awards this year. I did 1,000+ hours of mental wellness work and business advice for SMEs across the world. There's an app called Clubhouse, and it's a great speaking app to be able to speak across the world. And I helped many people across the world for free. While I was stuck at home, not being able to speak professionally, I thought I might as well give back to others. And it was the greatest gift that I could give myself. I did it purely from the heart. When you truly give from the heart, instead of trying to give to receive, it's amazing how the universe looks after you. But if you give to receive, which quite a lot of people do in business, then sometimes it doesn't work quite as well. And I did that and didn't expect anything. And very, very graciously and very honored to be awarded a Global Man of the Year for contribution to humanity by Global Woman magazine, and also International CEO and International Heel of the Year by the International Association of Top Professionals. So that's over in the States in Vegas as well. So had a few good things happen. Please link in with me. If anybody's on LinkedIn, obviously LinkedIn is one of the best ways you can utilize. It's the most authentic social media platform. You'll see on there, I've got 23,000. I've also got 65 different LinkedIn recommendations showcasing people that I've worked with before in the past. And I've utilized them. I now coach people like Dell, Facebook, Salesforce, and everything like that. Tomorrow, I'm actually coaching on my weekly coaching session with the CIO of Dell, who looks after 1,200 people. I've also coached Hollywood stars, such as Tasia Valenza. She doesn't mind me telling you. She was in Star Wars and Star Trek, coached her husband, and many of her friends as well over in Hollywood as well. So most of my work's over in America, but I am doing stuff with Okaco, which is around the corner here in Blanchardstown. They're the biggest software support company in the world in the optical lens industry. So I coach their CEO, Leah McKenna. You can see the testimony on the LinkedIn as well. So if I can coach you, let me know. So now, I'll shut up about myself and add a bit of value to you. First, I'm going to talk about my success formula in terms of being a good manager, a good leader, or even just good in business. How do we make it happen? And actually, this MAKE acronym can be used for making sales, making good relationships, growing a business, whatever you want. But it also, funnily enough, just on a joking side of it, this MAKE formula is so good that it can actually help make your partner orgasm. Because let's face it, if you have the right mindset in terms of positivity and love, if you take the right actions in terms of knowledge as well, mixing in knowing the other person's anatomy, and have lots of positive energy, hey presto, it works, right? Now, joking aside, in business, this works very well. In terms of mindset, we all know mindset's so important. But why is that? Well, Forbes magazine actually did an article showing that people who are in even just a more positive state within business are 20% more productive. And salespeople who are more positive and more happy in that happy factor state, 37% more productive. And actually, Fortune 100 magazine did an article showing the top 100 places to work for in terms of the happy factor. It showed that in the stock market returns of those companies between 1997 and 2004, the stock market returns averaged annualized at 15%. And those outside of it only averaged 6%. There's a massive difference. I was a bit skeptical about this, though, but having been a stock market man, and by the way, on that, I'm a trained fund manager, investment advisor, and I've also spoken at the London Investment Summit, the London Venture Capital Summit, and I know lots of people who can fund people. So not only am I a good coach to have on your team, I'm also a very good guy who knows a lot of people could get money as well for you. Anyway, going back to that, I wanted to test this stock market idea. So I had a look on Bloomberg, and I had a look at the day before Thanksgiving, the day before Easter, the day before Independence Day and the last 2 weeks of the year in terms of the Santa rally, and had a look at the markets. And 85% of the time, the markets go up. 85% of the time. Why is that? Because positive people produce positive results. So if you can get yourself into the best possible mindset, you can help yourself. And this is what I would do with people. This is one of the reasons why I won the award. I actually help people who are going to take their life in terms of suicide. And a couple of ladies came out and went very public about how I saved their lives, and now they've turned their mess into a message and give it meaning as well. But I also have worked, as you can see on my LinkedIn, with many, many people who are struggling in their business to turn it around and being able to help that. Because I've been able to do that in my own business, not just when I was in the investment world, but also my radio show has gone from 0 to 346,000 live listeners. My own business has gone global in 4 years. I've spoken on stage with people like ex-Taoiseachs, film stars, sports stars, and many New York Times bestsellers, all in the last 4 years as well. So I know how to grow a business, I know how to communicate, I know how to help people, how to be able to communicate better and have the right mindset to be able to create positivity and more clients in their life as well. So if I can do that for you, I will. Actions. Obviously in a business, we need to put a business plan in place. It's funny how, so when I was in the corporate world, I was reporting into the CEO of Davy. And he would ask for my business plan. I put my business plan together, give it to him, he put it in the drawer, and we wouldn't look at it again until bonus time. And you go, you did that, you didn't do that. Waste of time. If you're putting a business plan in place, make sure you have targets, not just for the year, but the quarter, the month, and the week, and put daily processes, procedures, and systems in place in order to help you lead towards those targets. I have a business model, which I haven't got time to talk about today, but it's a systematic business model on a digital platform that you could create really, really easily, and I could help you, and you could literally make £1 million a year. I actually gave this to someone who was just making jewelry for very rich, high net worth people in Dubai. And she's making a lot of money on the side now based on this. You'll have to come and get me for coaching if you want that. The second part is client mapping. It's very important to make sure you spend the right time with the right people to get the most amount of results. And let's face it, you guys probably go for a coffee to Costa Coffee or Starbucks when you go into Dublin, and that's fine. But why not go to the Westbury? Spend the extra $5. You never know who you could be sitting next to, and it could literally change your life. Or, I'm a small guy, I don't need to travel first class, but I do travel business class, not because I'm flash, not because I expect anything different, but I know if I'm traveling business class, even to London, I got potentially people sitting either side of me that potentially could be big money earners and in turn become a good client as well. And I actually had this. The CEO of Game On Media was sitting next to me when I was going across to London one time, got him as a client, he paid me $5,000 to come in and speak to his people as well. So be in the right place at the right time with different people and you get very different results. Knowledge, know your client, know your product, know your industry, and match your client needs to your USPs. When I got into Dell Technologies, Angus Hegarty is the president of Dell. I was linked in with him, so he got promoted in LinkedIn from looking after, 120 countries to 180 countries or whatever it is. And I congratulated him and said, look, I sent him a video of myself on stage. And I said, look, if you ever want to meet up, if I can add value whatsoever, give us a call. I was in there within 2 weeks seeing him. But before I went to see him, I did my research into him. I learned about him, so that I could connect on the heart level, not the head level. And when I went in there, I was able to talk to him. The fact that he was the American Chamber of Commerce, I'd spoken the Dublin, the Junior, the European, and the Tanzanian Chamber of Commerce, I was able to create connection there. He's a Munster fan, I'm a Leinster fan. He's a Munster fan, I'm best friends with Frankie Sheen, who used to play there. What else? Oh, he was good speaker on stage. I don't know if I am, but I speak on stage a lot. So we had a lot of things in common, and I was able to connect with him on a heart level. So when I went in there, when you ever go and see a client, first thing you do, never, ever, ever go in with the intention of selling. Go in there with the intention of making them your best friend. They will feel that energy then, and they will know that you want to be there for the long term rather than just a quick sale. Everybody can feel energy. You can walk into a room, two people had an argument, you can feel the energy in the room. People know when you're bullshitting them and when you're trying to sell to them. But if you come from the heart space rather than the head space, it makes a massive difference. So before I come on stage here and before I go into a meeting, I put my hand on my heart and I say, I am Doug Gordon, I am my heart. Please let me connect with the hearts of the audience in order to bless rather than press and add as much value. And I do that as well when I'm going to see people. Because what happens is when you get yourself out of the head space, the ego space, the fear space, and into the heart space, the higher space, the love space, you come from a place of love. And you don't give a shit about what you say because you're just trying to bless rather than impress. Finally, A is energy. Energy is all about, getting yourself into the best possible energetic state in order to perform at the highest level. And the highest form of energy for me is love. And I have a love energy acronym as well, which I'll just give you, which will help you get into the energetic state that you might need to be. Jesus, the red light coming across there, blimey. So you can see my GLEAM acronyms: goals, gamify, gratitude, and giving. And I'll start with gratitude. How many people here have children? Anybody? How many people here have ever given a child a present and they weren't grateful? Did you feel like giving them anything else? No, obviously. So why would your own subconscious or the universe, whatever you believe in, give you anything else if you don't feel worthy and grateful for what you've already created in your life now? Gratitude is the attitude, ladies and gentlemen, so get into that state of gratitude for all you have. It's amazing how your energetic field changes and you start attracting new things into you as well. Giving to others is the greatest gift you give yourself. The more you give to others, the more you tend to get. But if you know that and play it that way, the universe also knows that and goes, eh. So truly give from the heart. Gamify life. We all get shit people who come into our lives. Who's a shit client or something like that? I'm sure we've all had shit clients. Or we have maybe an ex-partner who's a right so-and-so or something like that. You know, there's a smile there, obviously. We all have had that, right? So gamify life. I say in life, because I had a near-death experience, right, where I actually died. I was encapsulated by this amazing feeling of love, energy, and connection. It's kind of cool. And I believe that we come down to this planet to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. And if you're having a bad time in life, maybe pat yourself in the back. Because maybe you played this game of life so often that you're testing yourself to the absolute ultimate to see if you can get through all this shit and come out the other side still as the best version of yourself. And then turn your mess into a message and give it meaning and add a bit of value to other people as well. So gamify life. And when you gamify life, you can take your emotions out of each individual situation and look from the 10th floor back down and ask yourself, what am I learning in this situation? How can I grow from this situation? And how can I glow from this situation in terms of gleam as well? And in terms of goals, I had my near-death experience. When I came out of university, I had goals. I wanted to earn a 6-figure salary. By the time I was 30, be a millionaire, have 2 kids, have a family, be recognized in the industry, in the newspapers, and be recognized in sport. I used to play National League First Division hockey, and I was recognized over in England. I got all of those, and then I died. I actually did. I literally got all of those, and then I died. Why am I telling this? Well, reassess your goals every single day. Align your goals to your sense of purpose so you can put baby steps towards that end sense of purpose, that mission, that goal, so that you're driven by a sense of love in terms of what you're doing as well. And you will be inspired to wake up, and you will inspire the people you work with if you come from that angle. L is for learning to let go of the energies such as anger, resentment, lack of forgiveness, and guilt. We all have absolute tossers in our life who come in and we don't want to deal with them, and they can be working with us, or they can be ex-partners or whatever. It's amazing, actually. I don't know. I always say, like, it's amazing how the word partner and the word parent have the same letters. It's almost like you replay the parent relationship again and again and again and again. Oh, fuck, there's my mum, there's my dad, or whatever, until eventually you heal whatever suppressed emotion was within you, and then next time you create love in your life rather than a lesson. And actually, I do a lot of relationship coaching, believe it or not, as well as business coaching. And a lot of people always come up and go, my ex, they were such a narcissist. And maybe they were. But I think that word is massively overused. And the word narcissist can actually mean neglected awareness, reflecting conditionings in suppressed self, instigating soul transition. And what I mean by that is sometimes the hardest people that come into our lives, those ones that really wind us up, are the ones that help us to grow and become more emotionally intelligent in some way or form. E is for emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is all about self-awareness, but in a business, it's also about team awareness, organizational awareness, and client awareness. And I help people. I have a system in my new book and also in my course as well in terms of a systematic approach, in terms of mindset of being able to establish an awareness. What are your triggers, your traumas, and your parental programs? And I can actually help you get rid of those and then use affirmations to be able to seed the subconscious and create neuroplasticity within the brain and create neural patterns that will change the way you behave and make you have better habits as well. And in terms of emotional intelligence, it's obviously about conscious communication. Do you know, conscious communication, right? Our words are a wand. And the sentences you say can sometimes be the sentences you condemn yourself and others to. My dad, he said I was a pain in the back. I broke my back. He said I was a pain in the neck. I knocked a vertebra out of place. My mum said, be careful you put your coat on, otherwise you might catch pneumonia. I caught pneumonia. He said, you're a pain in the arse. I got 2 operations on my arse. Be very, very careful about what you say, I can tell you. Someone came up to me and said, Doug, would you pray that it doesn't rain on my wedding day? And I said, no, because you put rain and wedding day in the same sentence. I'll pray that there's blue sky and sunshine. So voice what you want rather than what you don't want in terms of that. And that's affirmations, but also in terms of authenticity. I believe that we are spiritual beings living a physical presence on this planet. I believe you chose this spacesuit, so be you. It's the best version of you. Also, when you're authentic, people can tell. And then they want to deal with you much more as well. And then finally, meaning. What is the meaning of life? It's a hard one, isn't it? Is it to be really rich? Is it to have loads of houses? Do you think when you're 84 years of age, you're going to look back at your life and go, wow, aren't I great? I've got loads of money. Of course not. I believe life is about touching hearts. And that comes down to simple things, such as kisses you give, hugs you hold, and kind words that you pass on. And you go out there and give loads of kisses, loads of hugs, and loads of kind words, and realize that life is an absolute gift. In respect that, this gift of life in terms of the five senses. I met people who cannot see, and I get to see all you beautiful people. I met people who cannot hear the words, I love you, and yet we all can because you're all listening to me now. The touch, the taste, these are gifts. Live in the moment and enjoy the gifts of life and appreciate everything that life has to offer. But also find that purpose, find that meaning, and live a life of purpose when you're adding value to people in some way or form. Because when you touch hearts, you come from a place of love, which is lots of vibrant energy. And if you optimize your energy, you're going to optimize your life in all ways and forms. Because let's face it, everything in life is energy. Thoughts are energy. Speech is energy. Thoughts lead to speech. Speech leads to actions. Actions leads to habits. And habits leads to destiny. So start with a positive thought, and you'll end with a positive destiny. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.